Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Have you wondered how do some generals have the information about what's going on in Ukraine? I'm talking about NATO generals. Because sometimes you hear an American general giving his assessment of what's going on in Ukraine. And then you have, a German general giving his assessment. And then you have a British general or admiral giving his assessment. And then you have, in this case, a guy from France giving his assessment what's going on in Ukraine. Why are these guys so aware of what's going on in Ukraine? Is just because you think that they just are watching, or just because they are involved? Well, I think the latter is true. And I have here a general, a French general, who has nothing to do with Ukraine. I mean, it's like you talk to a guy from Bangladesh or someone from my friends from Zimbabwe. I'm going to talk to a general from Zimbabwe talking about the front in Ukraine. Why not? Bangladesh or Zimbabwe should be as involved in a war in Ukraine as France is. By distance, don't give me the agreed upon, definitions and names like Europe, planet Earth. They're all on planet Earth. How about that one? So this is the first topic. And the second one, I want to show you how I think the first statement coming from the French general is not confirmed, is contradicted by the Russian achievements. And that is very stressful and very dangerous. The Russians are advancing in Sumy Oblast towards the city of Sumy, 20 kilometers from Sumy, the city of Sumy. Now, I will show you two maps, and Sumy is in Ukraine, just so you know, and is within the buffer zone Russia wants to build or create. That is about 100 kilometers from the border with Russia inside Ukraine. Now, if the Ukrainians receive, weapons that could strike further than 100 kilometers, then the Russians will extend the artillery capabilities. They will neutralize it. So let's say the Ukrainians receive some artillery or some weapons that could send some missiles more than 100 kilometers. The Russians will push it, if they can, to more than that. So let me show you the first article coming from Ukrinform, and we have this French general. I would say something that I have no direct evidence, but I intend to avoid playing full retard here, okay? And that is, I have a gut feeling that these generals who know so much about the problems in Ukraine and what's going on over there, I think they are the generals who are actually involved in the operations planning of the Ukrainians. So let's watch or let's read this article. Ukrinform. All right. Chances of Russian successful breakthrough low. Now my question is, how do you know that? French General Richoux. Richoux. So Richelieu says, Mr. Cardinal Richelieu says that the chances are low. How do you know, buddy? He must have unless, first, I don't think the generals in the West are knowledgeable. By default. Sorry, that's me. Okay? I'm just a baboon. That's the first thing. The second one, if he is knowledgeable and very well informed, that means that they're just not, let's see what's going on with there. Let's just see how the Russians war tactics work right now. Yeah, that could be one reason. But I have a gut feeling that this Richelieu here is actively involved in planning and in decision making of the operations against the Russians. I have a gut feeling. Can I have a gut feeling? Do you allow me? You say no? Come on, I identify as a woman. I trump you right now. All right, let's move on. Over the years of war, Ukrainians have become experts in deep defense combat. Now that's a mischaracterization of reality. They became experts with other people's weapons and intelligence. Without that, they will be novices, making any potential Russian offensive unlikely to succeed. So he says that the Russians' offensive will unlikely succeed because the Ukrainians became experts. So, Mr. General Richelieu, imbecile, do you think the Russians remained in the caves while the Ukrainians touched the stars? So only the Ukrainians became experts in defense and the Russians just... Do you think that's what the Russians remained at that level? Do you think that they maybe became experts in offense? And if not, why not? That's why I'm saying the generals are imbeciles. By default, they have to prove themselves. When you say, hey, Mr. General, stop right there, like a PhD guy. When you have a guy with a PhD, I have a PhD, open your fucking mouth for 5 minutes. Let me ask you 2 questions and I see how PhD you have. All right, direct experience, numerous experience. It's not like I met 2 PhDs. Some are good, some are bad. The diploma, I have a PhD, for me, no. Open your mouth. So same with the generals. Could be good, could be bad. Let me hear what you got in your goatee. All right. French Army General Nicolas Richelieu told this to a Ukrinform correspondent. Why would this general from French talk to the Ukrainians about the war? Why is he allowed? Remember, you receive orders not to talk to the press as a general regarding certain issues. But he is not having any orders not to talk. The generals don't give interviews whenever they feel like. They're not like us. Someone comes and stuck a microphone in my... Okay, I'm going to talk to you. No, the generals cannot do that. The generals cannot make those statements. It's different. All right, because they don't know what questions they will be asked, by the way. Since 2023, the front lines have become increasingly fortified. And above all, the Ukrainians have become specialists in deep battle. But the Russians, hey, Richelieu, in slowing down the enemy, when you can't gain the upper hand and are forced to reach it, you inflict maximum losses. This is what kind of book? From the kindergarten, Mr. Richelieu? So remember, he's not talking about the enemy. He's talking about the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians, but how about the Russians? They didn't evolve at all? No. In his view, that's correct, in his view, very narrow, achieving a breakthrough in this war of attrition with its multiple solid defensive lines will be extremely difficult. Okay, that's true, but let's say, Richelieu, the Russians have the capability to throw or launch some bombs that destroy everybody with 3 bombs. And all those multiple solid defense lines are useless because everybody's dead. Then what? That's why the generals are regimented to think like this. Remember, they lived, and I have a problem with them, they lived in this kind of environment. Their hierarchical job being a private, yes sir, I'm gonna clean the toilets with my toothbrush right now. They have to do it for dozens of years until they become generals. And do you think when they become generals, they become like the moth? They, from a little fucker, they become, oh, that's a butterfly, beautiful butterfly all of a sudden. Do you think the generals become butterflies when they get the ranks? Until then, they just... And when they become generals, hey, I'm so flexible and so knowledgeable. I don't believe that. The job that you are in, if it requires regimentation of your brain, you will develop inevitably as a human being those characteristics. If all your life you're a servant, you will develop those characteristics outside of the wherever you serve. You don't believe me? Go and work. All right. For instance, for them to reach Kharkiv, they simply don't have the mass, but they have the bombs. So the probability of success is low, although the risk would be enormous if somehow happens. Okay, good, that's it. And we have this article right here from the Ukrainians again. And this is the title. Russian troops advance to Loknia, now 20 kilometers from Sumy. Opa, Penelopa, where the hell is Sumy? Sumy the city, not Sumy the oblast, because they are in the Sumy the oblast. So where is Sumy? Here, exactly here. So here is Sumy, and this is the city of Sumy. You see that? Ram pam pam. So the Russians advanced 20 kilometers from it. Now 20 kilometers is about what? 13 miles, let's say. So from here to here. So that means Sumy is in direct artillery strike of the 1941 artillery. They go 20 kilometers, didn't they? Anyway, if they didn't, close. So remember, the Russians evolved in 1942 or 1941 to 2025, don't you think? All right, let's move on and read the article. I'm going to show you the exact Loknia, where Loknia is, all right? Russian occupying forces have seized another village in Ukraine's Sumy Oblast, the village of Loknia, part of Yunakivka rural community in Sumy Rayon. Pop, all right, here it is. Then I'm going to show you on another map, because here you don't have it. So on this map, Loknia is somewhere here. Yukanovka here. Is this? This is where it is, but you don't. Oh, hello. Here, right here. So this is, let me show you another map. Ram pam pam. So this is a map of Ukraine, and we're going to go to Sumy right here. All right, and we're going to go to, remember, Sumy is here, Khotin is here, and we're going to go to Loknia, which is right here. So Loknia is right here, and Sumy is, where are you, baby dowel? Right there. Sumy, Loknia. Sumy, Loknia. So this is where this little river is. This is a little river and a highway here. You can look at that on this. So here is the, I can zoom more than that, but you see the river here and you see that. So this is where it is. So Mr. General, what's your name, Richelieu? It is true what you say in certain circumstances, but you didn't tell us anything about the Russians. Anything. You told us how great that guy is. Like you say, you know what? Our team is going to win, man. We have good defense, we have the midfield, and we have the guys up there up front. And we got a good goalkeeper. We're going to win, man. Okay, well, that's half of the story. Tell me about the other ones. Maybe the other guys have, I don't know, they have Messi or Maradona or who knows, okay? And these guys have some baboons over there, but hey, they're good. You have to talk about the opponent as well, my friends. So these guys get closer slowly but surely. And the guy tells us, I think these guys are just too knowledgeable for the front line. That general. But hey, what do I know? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Every time you hear an admiral, NATO general, NATO this and that, that guy could be, might be, maybe one of the guys in charge of the operation of Ukraine against the Russians. Okay? Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.